After that phase, the next thing we go to is implementation. Any needed software that would be created or purchased, components are ordered, received, tested. Afterwards, users are trained. Training documentation is created. We do another feasibility analysis, and then the users are presented with the system for a performance review and acceptance test. They have the opportunity to test it. They have the opportunity to see how it's going to react with the organization's existing systems. So we go into maintenance and change, right? Longest and most expensive phase. This phase consists of tasks necessary to support and modify the system for the remainder of its useful cycle. Even though formal development may conclude during this phase, the life cycle of the project continues until it's determined the process should begin again from the investigation phase. Current systems, for instance, when current systems can no longer support the change, mission of the organization, the project's terminated and a new project is implemented. So we take that development life cycle and we fold in security systems. Same phases are used, but can be adapted to support the specific implementation of a security project. The fundamental process is the identification of specific threats and the creation of specific controls to counter those threats. The security system development lifecycle unifies the process and makes a coherent program rather than a series of random, seemingly unconnected actions, which is kind of the downfall of a lot of security organizations within a particular organization. Again, same basic thing. Identify process, outcome, goals, constraints. Begin with the enterprise information security policy, and then we do an organizational feasibility analysis using teams of responsible managers, employees, any contractors that are organized. Problems are analyzed, the scope is defined, including things like goals, objectives, and constraints that are not covered by the program policy. And then, we still have to do a feasibility analysis. Does the organization have the resources and commitment necessary to conduct a successful security analysis design? Jump into the analysis phase. Documents from the investigation phase are studied. The development team conducts a preliminary analysis of existing security policies or programs, along with documented current threats and associated controls. So we're doing some risk management, risk assessment here. This phase includes an analysis of legal issues that could impact the design of the security solution, a risk management task, identifying, assessing, evaluating the levels of risk facing the organization, also begins at this stage. Next, we move to the logical design. This is create and develop a blueprint for security. It examines and implements key policies that influence later decisions. Critical planning is developed for incident response actions to be taken in the event that a particular or catastrophic loss. Feasibility analysis is completed again and determine whether or not the project should be continued or outsourced. Looking at the physical design, we would want to take into consideration a variety of things here. We need to support the blueprint outlined in the logical design is evaluated. Alternative solutions are identified, and the final design is agreed upon. The security blueprint may be revisited to keep it synchronized with the changes that are needed when the physical design is completed. Criteria needed to determine the definition of successful solutions is prepared during the phase, because we're going to have to go back and reevaluate to see if what we did was actually worthwhile. We would want to make sure that physical security measures are built in and supported for the proposed technological solution. At the end of this phase, again, we've got to do a feasibility analysis to determine the readiness of the organization for the proposed project, and then a champion or an individual who is going to spearhead this effort, and users are presented with the design, and then all parties have the chance to approve the project before implementation. The implementation phase, again, very similar to the system development lifecycle. The security solutions are acquired, whether we buy them or we build them. They're tested, they're implemented and tested again. Personnel issues are evaluated, specific training and education programs are conducted, and finally the entire package is presented to upper management for approval. And then we obviously need to move into the maintenance and change process, which is perhaps the most important phase. Given the high level of ingenuity with today's threats, it has to be a dynamic solution, and it has to be able to be continuously monitored and updated. Reparation and restoration of information is a constant duel with the unseen adversary, so we need to make sure that we have a good fluid design. As new threats emerge and old threats evolve, the information security profile has to go through an adaptation process to prevent threats from successfully penetrating or accessing sensitive data. It down a little bit, went through both the system development lifecycle as well as the security system development lifecycle. Talked a little bit about some of the security architecture or network architecture that you would see, and then the role of policy within an organization. And this is basically the gist of where a lot of the information that you would be touching upon in your readings is coming from. Thank you very much.